A parking lot of a business center over the noon hour is Peel Region's latest murder victim. We have all the details coming up.
And the other big story we're following tonight, live inside Scotiabank Arena, where the Leafs will take on the Panthers in Game 5 of their second playoff series.
Plus, volunteers pack more than 225,000 food packs to be distributed to children in more than 200 communities across the country this summer.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latifat. Thanks for joining us and welcome to Live at 5. The Leafs are looking to turn things around at home tonight after back-to-back losses to the Panthers in Florida.
Okay, CP24's Phil Perkins joins us live from inside Scotiabank Arena with a preview of tonight's game. Hey, Phil.
Hey there, Bakari and Lena. Yeah, safe to say this is the most important game for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the last couple of years. Game 5 in the second round, trying to get that 3-2 series advantage over the Stanley Cup winning Florida Panthers. Now, they entered Game 3 and 4 having a 2-0 series lead. They squandered that by Florida, who, again, are the champs. They woke up. They had an exhilarating Game 3, winning that one in overtime, and then really came out to play in Game 4. And now this series is tied at 2 games apiece. And this is why the Leafs played the way they did during the regular season. They're basically playing playoff hockey throughout the regular season, winning the Atlantic Division before things all got switched up years before that to try to get home ice advantage. Over the next 3 games, if it goes that long, 2 of them are at Scotiabank Arena, and they will do themselves a massive favor by winning tonight at home to give themselves a little bit of cushion when they go back to Florida on Friday, because it potentially, if you lose that game, you're back home at I know it's hard to say to Toronto Maple Leafs fans, Game 7 at Scotiabank Arena. Now, Craig Berube has been a big reason why this team is playing the way they have. A lot more discipline. They do not panic. However, that was not the case in Game 4. They had 4 penalties to open up the first period, and Coach Craig Berube, as well as John Tavares, last year's captain of this team, weighed in on how
I thought discipline hurt us last game, as we talked about, especially in the first period. We got to be disciplined. So it's important. I know there's penalties, and you're probably going to get some penalties, but we got to be smart. I thought that we took too many undisciplined penalties last game where we didn't need to, in my opinion.
I want to be in the box as much as we were in the first period. So, you just control what you can control and being really disciplined, playing hard, competing between whistles and sticking together, standing your ground when needed, but understanding the need to be disciplined and controlling the emotion, directing it the right ways.
Now, the Leafs have not played badly in Florida. They actually played pretty well in Game 4. Joseph Woll standing on his head, as hockey people would say. He seems to be in the flow right now. The players just got to find the back of the net, in particular, the likes of Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews has not scored yet in this series. They just cannot have a repeat of the Game 5 they had last series, Lena Bakari, against the Ottawa Senators in the Battle of Ontario. Everyone really did no show, and the Senators won 4-0, setting it back to the nation's capital for Game 6. I don't think fans here at Scotiabank Arena would like that, but I do believe the players here will be coming out fighting. We got Darcy Tucker in the house. They're ready to go. They'll bring the passion, as all these towels want people and players to do. Back to you.
Wait, Phil, do you believe or belief?
I believe. I believe that this is a massive game, and I believe they know that this is massive, and it's only a matter of time. Craig Berube has said that he is not overly worried about Austin Matthews not scoring in this series. I think it's only a matter of time. Lena, what are you going to say?
So just to make it very clear, you believe they can do it tonight? I believe. I maple belief that they can do it.
I love it. All right, CP24
look what
is Phil
you started,
Perkins.
Bakari.
I know.
All right, thanks, Phil. Well, Maple Leaf Square is just opening for Leafs faithful who'll be cheering on the team from outside Scotiabank Arena this evening.
Okay, so let's go live to CP24's Artis Zakarian, who's in the square. So if you can't get a ticket to be inside Scotiabank, this is where you can go, but you still have to sign up, right?
Yes, but Bakari, don't give anyone false hope because tickets are sold out, even for Maple Leaf Square. They're letting everybody in right now. Look at the group right here. little excited, a little happy. So how are you guys feeling?
Leafs in 6.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. A little bit nervous though.
A bit nervous? Why nervous?
I don't know. Last 2 games are the best, but you know, Matthews tonight. Matthews goal tonight. I'm calling it. Matthews goal. We need nice. Matthews needs to play big tonight.
Okay, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Leafs win tonight, 100%.
Yes? Okay, how important is it that they're playing right here at home?
Huge.
Best place to play! Best place to play! Yeah!
Oh, it's huge. It's great crowd here. Everyone loves the game. Let's go, Leafs. It's a great crowd. We gotta bring the passion tonight at home. And yeah, you already know. But maybe.
Okay, so you can tell these kids are really excited. Can I get a goal, Leafs go?
Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go! Go, Leafs, go!
They're just getting started, just getting warmed up. It's 5 o'clock right now, so 2 hours until puck drops. There's a lot of activations here at Maple Leaf Square, prizes that they're going to give away as well. Even I've been hearing that they're going to give away tickets to get inside Scotiabank Arena so you could watch the game live. Back to you.
It's going to be a long night, and everybody is going to lose their voice by the end of it. CP24's Arda Zakarian. Thanks so much, Arda.
Well, some young Leafs fans, they were showing their enthusiasm for the team this afternoon.
A spirit rally for the Leafs was held at Q Beach Junior Public School. Arda Zakarian was there earlier. And speaking to some of these kids, students donned their team gear and made signs of support for their favorite team. Some also had some advice for the players.
I'm very excited. I want the Leafs to win so badly. We locked in, baby! We locked in! We locked in!
Well, the TDSB says that students at Q Beach Public Junior School, they just wanted to show the team that their youngest fans are some of their biggest supporters.
It's 5:07 now, 20 degrees. Let's get a check on the evening commute with our traffic specialist, Adjoa and Siaya Bois. Tonight's big matchup that's certainly going to impact the drive, Adj, in the downtown core for sure.
It is. You know what? And wherever you're headed, you might be on the southbound 404, stuck in this, maybe heading towards downtown. This is the southbound 404 in the express lane that takes you through to Shepherd. It's the HOV lane blocked with this multi-vehicle collision. So if you're trying to get that early jump, make your way down to Maple Leaf Square or to Scotiabank Arena, you're backed up. Traffic is very, very slow. Maybe use the alternatives. Don Mills, Vic Park look a whole lot better. Then if your travels take you on the southbound lanes of the 400, just at the start of the ramp that takes you to the eastbound 401, we have the left lane blocked that is following a stall. And you know what? I had word of some problems that were happening on the QEW. Here they are. Toronto bound on the QEW through Walker's line. It is a collision. It does have that HOV lane block. So yes, it's a busy afternoon. I'll send it back to you both.
Okay, thanks, Adj.
You're welcome.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
A man's dead after a midday shooting. It happened in the parking lot of a business center in Mississauga.
CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan is on scene tonight and has the very latest on this investigation. I know you were talking earlier about the possibility of this being a targeted shooting, Steve.
Yeah, that's right, Lena. That's what my observations were when we first arrived on scene, but that was confirmed by Peel Police, who spoke with us a couple of hours ago, and they said that this was in fact an isolated incident and one that posed no threat to public safety. So the latest homicide here happened just after noon hour today. It's in a very busy industrial lot here near Derry Road and Dixie Road. Telford Way is the location. We're going to show you the scene, and you can see once we bring that up, the car that's at the center of the investigation right now appears to be the deceased vehicle. That's that black pickup truck. The man in his 40s was shot multiple times, was taken to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. Now, on the ground, you can see all those evidence markers. They typically mark where shell casings land. And I counted at least 12 of them out there by the vehicle. A witness said to me that they heard what they believed was 10 shots, then a pause, and then 5 more shots. And the police right now, the IDEN officers that we're showing you, are now collecting that evidence. And there are many plainclothes officers and detectives going around here collecting all of the video surveillance. And I have to tell you, this area is filled with video surveillance cameras from all angles. So it will only be a matter of time before the police get some sort of idea, rather, as to what the identity of the suspects were. Here is more from Peel Police, who we heard from just a couple of hours ago. Let's hear what they said.
I can see how that's very concerning. However, at this point, again, it's very early stages in the investigation. We are canvassing for any video footages, appealing to the public for any witnesses to come forward and speak with our homicide bureau so that we can gain more information on the circumstances.
The officer was talking about her concern, and that's because one of those bullets traveled across the street and went into the window of that brown brick building that we're showing you right now. The last police car on our shot, that window pane is got a bullet hole through it, and thankfully nobody was injured, but that's always the risk you run when you have suspects shooting indiscriminately in public areas, and most times they are not qualified shooters as well, so they just point and shoot with no regard for what's around them. In this particular case, only one person was hit. That man is now deceased. No other people were injured, and the police are actively looking for the suspects. Again, targeted, not random. That's always a relief for any community when they hear that news. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Steve Ryan, live in Mississauga, working on this developing story. Steve, thanks so much for this. To Newmarket now, where a 68-year-old man has been sentenced after 3 of his dogs attacked a 9-year-old girl. This happened in July of 2023.
It was on Jackson Court. That's when the girl and her father were visiting the home to view puppies for sale. York police say 3 bulldog-type dogs rushed out of the home and they attacked the girl without provocation, leaving her with serious injuries. Leslie Theodore Kovacs pleaded guilty to criminal negligence causing bodily harm and 3 counts under the Ontario Dog Owners Liability Act. He was sentenced to 1 year of house arrest, 15 months of probation, and a lifetime ban on owning dogs.
It is now 5:11, 20 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
Well, Dundas subway station is getting a new name. We're going to tell you what it's going to be called and why. It's coming up next. Toronto speed cameras have been targeted by vandals more than 300 times this year.
Yeah, in an email to CTV News Toronto, city staff confirmed there have been 325 incidents of vandalism involving its automated speed enforcement cameras in 2025. The data comes less than a month after the city said it would double the number of speed cameras from 75 to 150. The city says it notifies police whenever a device is damaged, adding that repair costs are usually absorbed by private contractors who are responsible for the upkeep of those devices.
Okay, well, speaking of traffic and public transit, the TTC board has unanimously approved to enter a partnership with Toronto Metropolitan University. This will see Dundas Station named after the university.
Let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Faisman, who's been following all the details and reaction from City Hall. Beatrice.
Lena Bakari, there's been a lot of controversy over the last several years over the name Dundas, but that's not why. Councillor Jamal Myers, who's the chair of the TTC board, says this change is being made. Actually, no taxpayer dollars are going to change the name of this station from Dundas Station to Toronto Metropolitan University Station. It's being paid fully and solely by the university. A tab to roughly $1.5 million is what we're hearing. This is just part of the partnership, Lena and Bakari, with the university and the TTC. They're putting together what's known as kind of this innovation hub. It's essentially a research pilot project that's going to last 18 months, and it's going to look at and find out if there's ways to improve some of the issues, the key struggles that the TTC has really, been challenged with over the last couple of years. We're talking about things like bunching of buses and streetcars, not necessarily running on schedule either. And so this is a pilot project that ultimately looks to improve the Red Rocket for commuters all across the city. Here's what we heard from TTC Chair Jamal Myers, and you'll hear from the president of TMU as well.
To be clear, the TTC is not taking any position on Henry Dundas. We are solely responding to the request that was brought forward to us from council. Neither is TMU taking any position on Henry Dundas. This is really about moving forward and creating an exciting partnership. This was passed unanimously. I understand where the deputants are coming from in terms of lack of public consultation and a more robust process. Some of this was just timing. We wanted to time this with the work that was happening on Line 6, which will significantly reduce the cost.
We are a big city and we are growing, and I think we need to find solutions to make it easier for our citizens in Toronto to move smoothly through the TTC network, but also to the whole system of transit in our city. So we do have many challenges and many issues, and I think this is a great day to start strategic partnership between TTC and TMU to tackle problems, use the expertise that we have, and find solutions.
So again, let's underscore the fact that no taxpayer dollars, according to the TTC and the TTC chair, are going to be going towards this name change. It's not going to happen overnight, Lena and Bakaria. In fact, you might not see the change for, the next even possibly up to a year. The reason being the map redesign, that's relatively easy. The name change at the station, that's relatively easy. The difficult part is what I'm hearing from TTC spokespeople is actually, getting these announcements kind of redesigned. That's done by a third party. The announcements you hear on board the trains, that's going to take a little while to actually finesse. So riders could see the change by the end of the year or into the beginning of 2026. Back to you guys.
Okay, continuing our ongoing live coverage from City Hall, CP24's Beatrice Vaisman. Well, the finance minister has picked out the tie that he's going to wear when he delivers the budget tomorrow.
How's it look? Is it so tomorrow? And you may wonder, well, how come no shoes? Well, this is my 5th budget, and my closet's full of shoes. Time to diversify, so we're going with the tie.
Yeah, he's done this a few times before. Peter Bethlen-Falvey visiting Tom's Place in Kensington Market for the tie he'll wear when the Ford government unveils his fiscal budget for the province. The budget expected to include plenty of measures to stimulate the economy because of U.S. tariffs. The fall economic statement eyed a balanced budget for 2026-2027, but Premier Ford has since suggested the path to balance is different. We will have extensive coverage of Budget Day from Queen's Park right here on CP24.
And Ontario Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie is outlining what she expects to see when the Ford government unveils its budget.
Doug Ford has been handing your hard-earned money to foreign companies and well-connected insiders. Therma Spa, Staples, Walmart, Shoppers Drug Mart, 7-Eleven, the Loblaws, the big brewers, and the Greenbelt insiders. This budget must be different. It's a chance to fix what's broken, not bankroll pet projects like the Fantasy Tunnel under the 401.
The budget is expected to be tabled Thursday, the first of Premier Doug Ford's third term. Ontario's finance minister has said it'll be largely focused on addressing the impact of the trade war with the U.S. Ford has previously said his government would not spare a penny to protect workers. The province's fall economic statement had forecast a balanced budget by 2026, 2027, as we noted, but that was before the tariffs were announced. It's unclear at this time if that timeline will remain intact.
And 2.5 months after the provincial election, a new poll finds that the Progressive Conservatives and Liberals, they're gaining support while the NDP appears to be getting squeezed out.
The poll by Liaison Strategies asked people who they would vote for if an election were held today. 46% said the PCs, up from 39% in February. 36% said they would vote Liberal, up from 30% in February, and 13%, only 13%, said the NDP. That's down from 22%. Despite the PC lead, more than half of Ontarians think the province is heading in the wrong direction. The poll of 1,000 Ontario voters was conducted from May 5th to the 9th. The margin of error for the poll is plus or minus 3.09%, 19 times out of 20.
Right now it's 5:20, 20 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, the country's biggest grocery store chain is warning that a surge of price hikes is on the way. We'll have more on that coming up. Welcome back. With hunger a growing problem in this country, an army of volunteers is coming together to help feed kids in need.
They're at the International Center in Mississauga. This is where they've been putting together more than 225,000 packs of healthy food. And these packs will then be distributed to children in 235 communities all across the country. This summer, that's a time when kids are out of school and don't have access to school food programs.
I retired from work and I wanted to have something really to do. So actually my wife said, you better find something to do. So one of the things I decided to do was ride my bike across Canada. And I thought, what a great time to find a charity that I was really passionate about. So I reached out to the Food Banks Canada and was introduced to After the Bell program. And when they told me what it's about and about kids and about never having any child go hungry, it really struck a chord with me. And so I rode across Canada with the goal of raising funds for the After the Bell program.
And the packs contain items like crackers, oatmeal, and granola bars. Money is also donated to buy perishable items like apples, cheese, and yogurt.
Well, speaking of food banks, hundreds gathered at Nathan Phillips Square for the 6th annual Second Harvest Truck Pull.
Mayor Olivia Chow was one of more than 500 people who challenged themselves to drag a 20,000-pound truck across the square, all to raise money and awareness about food rescue and food insecurity.
It's all for a great cause. Second half is help with the environment because no food waste, but also help feed kids, humans, and it's a very, very important cause that we are supporting right now. And never too late to donate to Second Harvest.
And according to Second Harvest, an estimated 8.7 million Canadians are facing food insecurity.
Well, the country's biggest grocery store chain is warning that a surge of price hikes related to tariffs is on the way.
Loblaws chief executive says that the increases are going to kick in as stores exhaust their pre-tariff inventory. So he says that the number of products affected by tariffs, that's expected to rise to more than 3,000 within the next week or two. It could peak at more than 6,000 within the next 2 months. So Loblaw says that's a small share of the roughly 80,000 items in stocks, but customers may see changes to natural foods, pantry staples, and health and beauty products.
It's 5:25, 20 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, the Leafs are not the only Toronto sports team with the playoff game tonight. The Scepters are going to try to avoid getting eliminated by the Frost. We'll preview that game next.
Welcome back. The Scepters will be fighting for their playoff lives tonight in just a few hours when they visit the Frost for Game 4 of their PWHL semifinal series.
Okay, Toronto fell 7-5 to Minnesota in Game 3. This was Sunday. The Frost lead the best-of-5 contest 2-1. Now, if the Scepters can stave off elimination tonight, the 5th and deciding game is set for Saturday in Toronto.
And Toronto FC will be looking for back-to-back wins for the first time all season when the club takes on FC Cincinnati tonight.
TFC's coming off a 2-0 victory over DC United. That was Saturday. It was just the second win of the MLS campaign for the Reds. And Cincinnati currently sits in first place in the Eastern Conference. Well, tonight's match kicks off at 7:30 at BMO Field.
The Blue Jays will be looking to bounce back against the Tampa Bay Rays at home tonight.
And he hits it high in the air, down the right field line, gone!
Okay, so the Jays took the lead in Game 1 of their series last night with a 3-run homer in the 8th, but the Rays hit a grand slam in the top of the 9th to take an 11-7 lead. The Jays tried to stage a late rally but fell short, losing 11-9. The first pitch for tonight's game, that's going to be just after 7. Chris Bassett gets to start for Toronto.
5:29, 20 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And we are live at Maple Leaf Square. This is where the gates are opening for the tailgate party. Look at them. CP24's Artie Zakarian is going to bring us live coverage. That's next. A man gunned down in a parking lot of a business center over the noon hour is Peel Region's latest murder victim.
And the other big story we're following tonight, we're live inside Scotiabank Arena, where preparations are now underway before the Leafs take on the Panthers in Game 5 of their second playoff series.
We're also live at Maple Leaf Square. This is where gates have opened for the tailgate party. CP24's Artie Zakarian will be bringing us live coverage from there.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lena Latterfat.
I'm Bakari Savage. A man's dead after a midday shooting. This happened in the parking lot of a business center in Mississauga.
CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan is on scene, and he has the very latest on this investigation. What are investigators saying about this, Steve?
Well, we heard from Peel Regional Police, Lena, a couple of hours ago, and I'll get into what they told us in a moment. So let's talk about where we are. We're at Telford Way, which is a very busy business area, industrial area in the vicinity of Derry Road and Dixie Road. Now, Lena, we spoke the last half hour. When I first got here this afternoon, I did say during our first sit that it appeared to me that this could most likely be a targeted shooting. And here's why I said that at the time. The location being a very busy area. There's surveillance cameras all over the place. It was lunch hour. Nobody was really concerned about witnesses and the amount of shots that were fired. On the ground beside the black pickup truck that we're going to discuss in a moment, there were at least 12 shell casings that are ejected from a semi-automatic pistol, of course. Typically, when you have one person shot multiple times like that, it certainly is personal. There certainly is a message being sent, and that's why it appeared to me at the time that this was targeted. So now let's go to the Peel Police conference today. The officer did tell us that this was, in fact, an isolated incident and there was no threat to public safety. What they said was a man in his 40s was walking out towards that black pickup truck when he was shot multiple times. He was rushed to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. This entire area now is filled with police officers, forensic officers collecting the forensic evidence. There's officers canvassing the area, and they are collecting all of this video surveillance that's in this area. There's all kinds of different angles, so there's no doubt that most likely before the night is over, the police will have some idea as to what the suspects or vehicle looks like that was used, just as a result of the amount of surveillance cameras that are present. Here's more from Peel Police, who we did hear from just a short time ago. Let's listen.
I can say that, again, that is something that is of concern, but with our Homicide Bureau canvassing the area, we will hopefully be able to catch these individuals and have this come to an end.
So although this was an isolated incident and there is no threat to public safety, the officer did express her concern with what transpired in this very busy area at lunchtime, given that there was multiple shots fired. One of those bullets, guys, actually traveled across the street and struck a window in this business that you're looking at right now that the two police cars are parked in front of. There could have easily have been others hit by these stray bullets as they were fired. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Police are looking for a suspect or suspects, and one man in his 40s has since died as a result of Peel Region's latest homicide. I'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, live on the scene of the latest fatal shooting in Mississauga, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan. Steve, thank you very much. Right now, it's 5:34. It's 20 degrees. Let's get a check on the evening commute with CP24's traffic specialist, Adjoa Nsiayabois. Adj, any problem areas?
A lot of them. Got a few. If you're making your way out, maybe you're just trying to get home from work and school, or you're trying to have a little bit of fun and maybe head downtown and head down to Maple Leaf Square. It's going to take you a while if you're on the 401 traveling on the eastbound side because of problems. This is the eastbound 401 approaching the 400 in the collectors. So two right lanes that are blocked following this collision, Bakari. Very, very slow from well before Dixie as a result. And then southbound 404 DVP not moving as you head from Steeles all the way down to Shepherd because of this long-standing collision involving a truck that is in the HOV lane. Looks like tow's arriving on scene, so hopefully they can get that cleared. And the Gardner continues to be jammed as you make your way out and head in to the downtown core. Again, just volume delays and everything, all the results of that long-term construction. On city streets, we are dealing with a collision in North York. It's on Finch right at Alness. I'll send it back to you both.
All right, Adjoa, thanks so much. Well, can the Leafs get back on track tonight? Fans outside Scotiabank Arena certainly think they can.
Okay, so here's a live look inside Maple Leaf Square. This is where proud members of Leafs Nation have already gathered for tonight's game. They're going to be watching on the big screen and cheering on the Leafs in Game 5 against the Panthers.
Okay, so that's a look outside Scotiabank Arena. Let's take you inside now. The Leafs really looking to turn things around at home tonight after back-to-back losses to the Panthers in Florida. CP24's Phil Perkins all over what the team has to do to come out on top in just a couple of hours. Phil.
Hey there, Lena Bakari. Yes, the lights are down low here. It really does feel like a show at Scotiabank Arena. The Zamboni is making sure the ice is pristine here ahead of Game 5. But you talked about, what the Leafs can do to get back on track. To be honest, if you heard from head coach Craig Berube and John Tavares, they would tell you that they didn't play poorly in Games 3 and 4 in Florida. Yes, they were 0-2. You're up against the Stanley Cup champs, though. They took them to overtime in Game 3. It took Leaf killer Brad Marchand scoring in overtime to turn the tilt on that one. It was Game 4 that they did not play poorly either. They just couldn't find the back of the net. Yes, that's the name of the game, but Joseph Wall, who many people thought coming in for Anthony Stolarz in relief for him would be a little bit shaky, which he was when he came in relief, but he was absolutely solid in Game 4. But the one blemish in Game 4 was the fact that they had multiple minor penalties in the first period, and that led to what eventually turned out to be the game-winning goal. And so Craig Berube said they need to be disciplined tonight. They are at home. Yes, they have home ice advantage over the next 3 games if it goes that far, but this game really does feel like, and they're all, must-win games, but losing tonight, then going back to Sunrise against the Panthers with a raucous crowd there, that will be a tough task to try to bring it back to Toronto for a Game 7. And so what can Coach do to try to change things up, change the philosophy, change the lineup? There are a couple rumors circling around here in the media room here at Scotiabank Arena, but nothing has been concrete as of yet in terms of any potential lineup changes. Craig Berube keeping things very close to the chest right now. But here's what he had to say about their philosophy along with John Tavares.
You got to understand, it's not going to be clean. The game will not be clean the way they pressure, and you got to be comfortable with things off the glass, chip outs, and we got to have people skating, getting through there to get onto those pucks. So it's not always going to be clean, but I think our D are doing a good job of that. And I thought our wall play was pretty good last game. So there's a lot of good things that way. We got to find a way to get through that swarm and nerve zone, especially off our forward check. That'll be key tonight.
I think you're always looking after a loss or, losing a couple games, especially tight games, to reinvent the wheel and change things up and look at all these different things. I think you have a good foundation of how you want to play, your opponent, what they do well, and just sticking to things that over time can lead to success and tilt momentum, tilt the game in your favor.
You're not going to get fired. All right, it is quiet here at Scotiabank Arena. I'm now joined by my friend. What's your name?
David.
David, you work for Scotiabank. It's quiet now, but I think Maple Leaf fans inside Scotiabank have kind of turned their reputation around. They're being quiet.
What's that?
In terms of being quiet, they've woken up.
It's been really loud the first series and the first couple games here. It's I've been here 30 odd years, even back at the Gardens. So early 2000s, man, it was loud. This is approaching it.
Really?
Yeah, it's getting up there. So
That's
I really
great.
appreciate that. Yeah.
And so, a lot of people saying this team feels different. They're playing differently. How do you feel about this team and walking into Game 5, try to get that 3-2 series lead?
I'm not nervous right now because you can see it on the ice. They have a structure to them. I think previous, it was kind of all over the place, but I think Berube has given them some structure. So when things go a little bit off, they know how to rebound and get back to it. So I think a lot of fans see that. And Ottawa was a perfect example. They were up and then they lost 2 in a row. And then they just said, put the kibosh on it.
Enough of that.
Yeah, that was it. So yeah, they definitely have a different structure to it. So I think people are a little less antsy and a lot more optimistic.
For sure. Well, you could be a beat reporter, David. You've basically been covering the team for 30 years. Yeah. That's awesome. Great to chat with you. That was awesome. I was trying to talk to some fans. They didn't want to talk. David, he literally dropped down like 3 aisles to come talk to us. So thank you very much. That's probably the most calm interview I'm going to have all night because we're going to be at Maple Leaf Square the entire night. Puck drop until the final whistle. Hopefully the Leafs go back to Florida up 3-2, trying to punch their ticket to the Eastern Conference Final. And once you get past Florida, David, I think the path is pretty good.
It looks well. It looks good.
It's pretty good.
By the way, it's my birthday today.
Happy birthday. How old are you turning?
Oh,
can I?
The nation's going to know that?
Yeah.
I'm 53.
Okay, 50. Is anyone on the team number 50? I know Michael Bunting was 53. He's not on the team anymore. But anyways, okay. 5, 3, 8. Tanev. Wait, you're turning 50 or 53?
53.
Okay,
53.
Tanev is scoring tonight. The East York guy. 5 + 3 is 8. He wears 8. Okay, back to you guys.
Wow. Okay, good math. And happy birthday, Dave. Thanks so much for that conversation. He had some excellent insights and looking forward to Phil's coverage tonight as well.
Okay, so Phil was inside Scotiabank Arena.
Yeah.
He's going to be at Maple Leaf Square later. Mm-hmm. But you know who's at Maple Leaf Square right now?
Who?
CP24's Arda Zakaria. Arda, bring us the fans.
Oh, she's dancing.
Uh-oh. All right.
Hey, okay.
I see you.
So I have to say, there are dedicated Leaf fans inside, like Phil, inside Scotiabank Arena, but the most dedicated fans are out here. This is the place where the fans are just going to be zoned in on the game, cheering for their team. With me right now is Sana, Mariam, and Fatima. super dedicated. You've been here at Maple Leaf Square almost every game. Why keep coming back here?
Because this is where it's at. This is where the hype is. This is where the crowd is. This is where the real fans are. It's amazing. The atmosphere is just so worth it.
Yeah, everybody here is just always hyped up, and the cheering and everything just makes you want to be here even more.
I mean, this is the place to be. Why wouldn't you want to be here? So tell me, how are you feeling for tonight's game? This is a really big deal. Every single game at home for the home team, they've won. How important is it to have home ice advantage?
Home ice advantage is always important. I mean, the players love the fans love the players. I think I'm confident coming into this game that the cheer that the fans are going to give the team, they're going to win this. Easily.
Yeah, it's just like, I think the players, they really feel more like they need to win because of the fans and not letting them down and stuff.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go crazy here. We're playing in Scotiabank Arena. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna get pretty loud. I think they're gonna be able to hear you inside for sure. So, who are you looking to really bring it today?
I mean, I gotta go with Nylander. I'm wearing his jersey. I gotta rep him. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna go crazy tonight.
Who are you looking forward to?
I gotta go with JT. I'm wearing his jersey. Like, come on, assistant captain, he's gotta show off today.
I think it's a team effort. I feel like everybody's got to step up, not just one person. And I think if we really do that, it's going to be a special game today. Absolutely. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. So here at Maple Leaf Square, there's so much excitement. They're giving away prizes all evening as well. You know, 7 o'clock is when the puck drops, but you'll know it because this crowd is going to go wild. Can I get a Go Leafs go? Go Leafs go! Amazing. You guys are so great. Okay, so we'll come back here. I know Phil's going to be out here in just a little bit, and we're going to send it back to you in the newsroom from Maple Leaf Square.
The energy, it's amazing. CP24's Arda Zakarian reporting live for us tonight. Thanks, Arda. It's now 5:44, 20 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
Ontario and Manitoba have inked a deal to boost interprovincial trade. We're going to hear from the premiers coming up.
Welcome back. Ontario and Manitoba have reached an agreement to boost trade and remove labor barriers between the two provinces.
Premier Doug Ford and Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew signed a memorandum of understanding today to increase the flow of goods, services, investment, and workers. The deal includes direct-to-consumer alcohol sales and a two-way trade between Ontario and Manitoba is set at nearly $20 billion. That was in 2021.
We're looking forward to signing with PEI, looking forward to signing with Saskatchewan and Alberta, and we're working. I talked to Francois Legault just through text messaging. So I think we're all going to come on board, and I think we're moving fairly quick, actually. So before July the 1st, hopefully, we can get all the territories and provinces on board. And it'd be a shame if they weren't, because, you know, they're going to miss the train. And it's not going to benefit their communities. So I'd highly recommend everyone hop on board. It's really going to benefit every jurisdiction from coast to coast to coast in our country.
We're here to show that we're serious. When it comes to interprovincial trade, we're willing to knock down these barriers. Manitoba, at the start of this process, was already one of the leaders with the fewest barriers, and so we're willing to continue that good work and want to put out that warm and hearty handshake to all the other premiers to join us and do this work together. And we're serious when it comes to the big national unity, nation-building projects as well, too. We brought back 500 megs of power that we are exporting to the U.S. during this moment to be able to redevote that towards maybe a transmission line to Nunavut, maybe to electrify a trade corridor to Saskatchewan, Alberta, to talk to Ontario about how do we do this work together.
Well, Ontario recently signed similar deals to remove interprovincial trade barriers with Nova Scotia and New Brunswick.
Well, a new report shows Ontario's electricity is increasingly being produced with greenhouse gas-emitting power.
The Independent Electricity System Operator says 16% of electricity in the grid came from natural gas last year, making it 84% emissions-free. That's down from 87% the year before and 96% in 2017. And the last time Ontario's electricity was produced with at least 16% emitting power, that was when it still used coal plants. Now, the province's energy minister says the increase is due to nuclear refurbishments, and the grid will be 99% non-emitting by 2025.
5:49, 20 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Prime Minister Mark Carney hosted his first meeting with his cabinet today. We're going to find out what they accomplished next. Prime Minister Mark Carney met with his new cabinet today.
Carney shook up his cabinet by moving some key players into new positions and promoting 24 new faces in a move meant to signal change. While some members of his team were prominent figures in former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government, Carney froze out other prominent members of his predecessor's cabinet.
Well, at today's meeting, the Prime Minister repeated his promise to cut taxes for the middle class.
By July 1st, as promised, that middle-class tax cut that will reduce taxes for the 22 million Canadians who pay federal income taxes, that tax cut will take into effect.
And Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne says Carney's government will not table a budget when Parliament returns in the coming weeks, but instead plans to put forward a fall economic statement.
U.S. President Donald Trump is now in Doha, Qatar. This is for the second leg of his three-nation Middle East tour.
Yeah, Trump came out of his plane and was greeted by the Emir of Qatar on the red carpet. Trump's visit to the Middle East countries gave the clearest indication yet of his vision for the region, where goals of fostering human rights and democracy have been replaced by an emphasis on economic prosperity and regional stability.
So earlier today, Trump met with Syria's interim president in Saudi Arabia. The meeting with Ahmad al-Shara. This comes as Trump announced that he'll ease sanctions on Syria and move to normalize relations with its new government. Well, it marks a major turn of events for Syria, which is still adjusting to life after the rule of the Assad family. It's also remarkable given that al-Shara had ties to al-Qaeda and joined insurgents battling U.S. forces in Iraq before entering the Syrian war. So Trump spoke about Syria at an event in Saudi Arabia.
There is a new government that will hopefully succeed in stabilizing the country and keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria. They've had their share of travesty, war, killing, many years. That's why my administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade.
Crowds of Syrians gathered in Damascus to celebrate after Trump announced he'll ease sanctions on Syria. People cheered in the streets and shot off fireworks, hopeful that their country might rejoin the world's economy when they need investment the most. Trump said the move was to give the country a chance at peace.
CTV U.S. political analyst Eric Ham says that Trump's recent moves show that the U.S. is not as aligned with Israel as it has been historically.
We've already seen Syria be pretty effective with its outreach to the West, particularly some European countries. And now to have the United States on board, this is going to be a very, very positive step in that direction. And also what we're seeing here is while the president has continued to double down on his trip that Iran will not get a nuclear weapon, that has not stopped the president from also making overtures that he does want a deal with Iran. Again, something that's completely opposite or counter, at least, to what we know the Netanyahu government wants in Israel.
It is now 5:55, 20 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, we'll take a look at how some young Leafs fans are showing support for the team heading into tonight's crucial Game 5.
Some young Leafs fans were showing their enthusiasm for the team this afternoon. Watch this.
Well, the Spirit Rally for the Leafs was held at Q Beach Junior Public School. Students donned their team gear and made signs of support for their favorite team. Some also had advice for the Leafs.
I'm very excited. I want the Leafs to win so badly. We locked it, baby! We locked it!
The TDSB says students at Q Beach Public Junior School wanted to show the team that their youngest fans are some of their biggest supporters. Gotta love that energy and enthusiasm.
It's 5:59, 20 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Thanks so much for joining us this evening. CTV News at 6 is coming up next.